Hello, my name is Olorotimi. Today is July the 23rd, 2026, and I saw a video of a Nigerian female who apparently is in the UK, and she was teary-eyed, and she did a video complaining about um, the how her £20,000 uh, masters from the UK did not seem to have value in terms of returns on securing her a job that matches her qualifications, and she was really lamenting about her situation. It's not the first one that I've seen. I saw some she at least this person seemed more possessing equanimity is not the word, it's not the phrase, but at least she didn't appear erratic. She wasn't melting down, she wasn't in a meltdown like another video that I'd seen of a Nigerian female who was also in the UK. She was crying, tearing up. I don't even know how she could find herself. At some point I thought she was probably. I wondered if she was faking it, but she was very teary-eyed. She was really welling up, and if she were faking it, then she should be an actor and an actress, and that was like an Oscar-worthy performance. But in any event, there's a friend of mine who has been watching my videos. He's known me. We've been friends since childhood. I mean, since our teens. And he's here in America. He's settled. His children are American citizens. He's here permanently. And he's one of those people who has hope in Nigeria. And he tried to prevail on me to talk more about Nigeria, especially since I have the qualifications for it, the background, the understanding, the connections, and but that's sort of not what I'm interested in doing. The videos I'm doing, therefore, one, they were to mentor someone growing up here, right? Um, Someone of African descent, my friend, to mentor people growing up here, my nieces, and to help Africans, new African immigrants in America, to understand the history of America, to help them in adjusting, right? Um, I'm an American citizen, so when I'm any feedback I give today, there's no, it's useless saying, well, uh, you know, what about you come back home? Because I'm an American citizen, right? I'm here. I can be anywhere I want to be, right? Um, but so let me get into it. I of course it's out of compassion, right, and sympathy for this person, because I have family. I have family who spent tremendous, truckloads of money getting an education in the West, and they're not able to work with it, right? I have a sister as well who got her degree, an excellent degree from the UK, very expensive, but apparently she, went back to Nigeria. Now, to be honest, let me first say something, all right? When I've been in America now for 27 years, going on 28, going on 30 or whatever, right? Many years. And first of all, I didn't intend to immigrate to America. That was not my plan, right? I came as an F1. The F1 student, right? The F1 visa, it's for people who are non-immigrants. They're going to obtain an education and they will return back to their homeland, right? Their home country. And the nation that's issuing them that F1 student visa, right? The consular officer has the mindset, they're convinced that that person comes from a family or comes from a very settled and established family in their home country. For us, we're talking about Nigeria. So they're convinced that their family is settled and well established, that there's no incentive for them to stay in their nation, right? In the nation they're going to study in, just to acquire an education, because they come from an established family. They'll be giving up too much, right? So that's who the F1 student visa is for, right? So that's the first thing. That's the design of the F1 student international visa. It's not designed for you to after you're done to get an education and then get a job, because to the mindset of your host country, right, that they think in terms of zero sumness, right? Zero sum. That means if you have a job, if you secure a job in your host country in the West, let me give an example, America, then you're taking there's an American who's not getting that job, right? And so they didn't design that F1 for you to take somebody's job. That's first of all. Now, in America, the F1's designed for you to have optional practical training. In STEM, it's 3 years, right? So you have to, again, it's still you're obtaining it at, with huge barriers, huge odds against you, right? Because one, you don't have a permanent work permit, right? So often when they hire you as someone who's just completed a degree, for instance, in the United States, they hire, you're offering such a huge benefit to the employer, right? That an American wouldn't provide. Either one, you're overqualified for that position, right? Or you work 3 times as hard. They're going to work you 3 times as hard as an American, right? You won't bargain for your rights the way an American would bargain for their rights, because the employer, when you go to work in American companies, for instance, companies that I work with, I work for Bank of America, I work for Wachovia Securities. They're now part of Wells Fargo, right? Those are amongst the top 4 biggest banks in America. I've worked for different huge companies, right? In America, right? Those companies invest in you. Your first 3 months, your first whatever, or your first year, they're training you because you don't know anything yet, right? Even though you have a degree, they don't expect you just coming to produce for them. The purpose of your degree is to make sure you can be trained, right? You've proven that you can be trained, you can learn. Whatever they throw at you, you're going to pick it up very fast, right? So when I went to work for Bank of America, they trained me. I think I did I moved from different roles at Bank of America. They trained me as a private banker. They trained me as a small business specialist, as a loan officer. They trained me as a financial advisor, stockbroker. They trained me in, wealth management. They trained me in investment banking, so many different things. They train you. They sponsored my licenses, right, as a Series 7 General Securities representative. And they spend a tremendous amount of money training you. I think they gave me something, and I saw it, the amount they were going to spend on me in my first year, apart from my salary, was over $100,000. I think like $150,000. Like, they wrote it down, right? That, look, they're investing this amount of money on my training. The same thing with Wachovia Securities. They first send you on training. They put you in a hotel. So not everybody is lucky to obtain those jobs, right? Not everyone has that luck, has that benefit. A lot of Americans don't get that opportunity. So hey, somebody who is not an American citizen, right, getting those opportunities would be extremely rare. So those are the outliers. For some reason, Nigerians have put it in their head back home that if they can just come up with that money, that huge, the money for their education, then, they're going to fit into the bell curve, that everybody who comes up with the money gets an opportunity. No, you are the outlier, right? As an international student, or as an F1 who gets a job, you're the outlier, right? You're a sliver of the gigantic pie, right? And it's it's sad that everybody just thinks that um, Europeans, people in the West, are eager to just give you these opportunities and take away opportunities for their own people that were born here, for their own citizens that were born here. No, that's not the case. Now, if you think that you're a genius, right, you can like Elon Musk, he was once an F1 student, right? If you think you can create something, right, create a business and employ people, great, great. They, in fact, but they have avenues for that. That's very expensive, right? They have visas, special visas for that. People who want to start businesses abroad, right? They have special visas for that, and it's very expensive, right? But banking on the notion that, well, you're going to come here with an F1, dole out over. Um, Let me take it back to the UK, right? In this person's case, she was in the UK. First of all, whoever advised her didn't advise her properly. I was very fortunate that, again, although it was never my intent, never my parents' intent to emigrate through an F1 to America, right? Again, I'm a citizen now, but that was not the intent. I came from a certain class of people in Nigeria, right? That getting a foreign degree from the West was just a status symbol, right? And it would help hone our skills to go back and build Nigeria. People like Obafemi Awolowo, right? Whom my father had been a speechwriter to. My dad had been his assistant at some point. People know Chief Obafemi Awolowo. He studied in the West. He went back to Nigeria. Many people. Rotimi Williams studied in the West. He went back to Nigeria. That was where they got their success. MKO Abiola, that we all praise, he studied in the West, in the United Kingdom, in Scotland, did fantastically. A brain, he was top of the class, he went back to Nigeria. Ojukwu, he studied at Oxford in the West, he went back to Nigeria. So studying in the West was a status symbol for some people, right? And, at least when I was growing up in Nigeria, it was just a status symbol, right? There were certain families that, yes, they put everything. Now it is a pathway to a permanent livelihood in the West, right? It's changed. It's unfortunate. So whoever was advising this person going to the UK, right? First of all, they didn't advise them properly, because the UK, yes, they want you to spend your money there on their education, but once you're done, go back to where you're coming from, right? Go back to where you're coming from. And you don't want to get into any sort of fraudulent engagement that's going to eventually jeopardize you in the long run. So you can see in America what they're doing. They're trying to denaturalize people. It's people who obtained citizenship through fraudulent means, right? That's what they're going back to see. They're 26 million naturalized citizens. So it's not administratively feasible, right? Again, and the people who are citizens have rights. But I think if I could give advice, I'd advise that, look, depending on your faith and your values, right, you can make it anywhere. This is God's world. There's no particular nation that has a monopoly on opportunities. And there are tremendous opportunities in Nigeria. Nigerian elites, right? Because that's what you are. If your parents can cough up £20,000 in school fees for 1 year, £20,000, you're elite, right? And there are people who probably hate you for doing this video. Well, I'm not speaking specifically to the person, because I don't know the person and I don't want to be disparaging or dismissive of her concerns. But there are many people like that. If your parents can dole out £20,000 a year, right, for 1 year of tuition, that's apart from the cost of living. It costs a lot of money to live in the West, whether it's in the UK or in America. £20,000, that's roughly maybe over 50 million naira, right? That's a tremendous amount of money just for education. There are people who think you're self-engrossed, right? That you don't even, that how could you have taken £20,000 out, right? You would have taken more than that, in any event. When you could start a business in Nigeria. There are opportunities in Nigeria. So focus on that, right? Today you have the internet. It's not because you got you're trying to get an education, because today you have the sort of education that we couldn't have, right? When I came to America in the 90s, right? The internet was new. I didn't even have a computer in my home, right? When I came to America, I had to take my standardized tests. I had to cut out a cardboard board, make it look like and design it like the keyboard of a computer, and I memorized it so I'd be able to do it fast. I would wake up, look at it, I memorized that keyboard, the way it was. I mean, the cardboard that I cut out. I didn't have a computer, but that was how I had to do my tests on a computer, right? So again, whoever advised you didn't advise you properly about going to the UK. The US, yes, you get an F1, but you see, even America is not a good place to come to right now. There's a guy I watch his skits. He's a Nigerian in America. His moniker is No Time. I can't pronounce his name. He's an Igbo guy, and if he could say that, look, hey, this is not the time to come to America. You go anywhere, but don't come to America. Because right now they're targeting people who are even permanent residents. They're trying to revoke their green cards. If a permanent resident leaves America and wants to come back, because Nigerians like to do that, they have the green card and they travel out and come in as if they think the green card is actually an American passport. It's not. The green card holder is not an American citizen, right? Now, if you're coming back, it's up to the customs guy. If the customs guy thinks you're a criminal, he can deny you, put you in deportation proceedings. There's nothing you can do. That's a new law. So, No Time, that's his moniker. He says, look, don't come to America now. And if you're trying to get an F1, want to be an international student, you're wasting your time. That's what Monica No Time says. That's his moniker. He's saying that, look, you're wasting your money. You are wasting your money. So it is unfortunate. £20,000. If your parents want to give you that £20,000, think about a business that you can start. Right? There are many Nigerians who didn't go and study abroad, who are wealthy. They're millionaires. There's a guy, Cosmos Maduka. Right? I knew of him when I was growing up. I would watch him, his interviews. He was wealthy. I never imagined that I was going to stay in America. MQ Abiola, right? He became a billionaire. Everybody knows him. So many people. The richest black man in the world, by far. In fact, his net worth is underestimated. He says it. Look, it's underestimated. And yes, indeed it is. I have a finance background and an accounting background. I know how to calculate these things. I'm trained in it, right? I have an MBA as well. His net worth is grossly underestimated, just as America inflates the net worth of its people and its financial markets and its companies, especially through the exchange, foreign exchange rate, since, the dollar is a world standard. Aliko Dangote did not go and live abroad to become the wealthiest black man in the world, right? He didn't. And there's so many people. There's Cosmos Maduka, right? I don't think he even went to college. He didn't. I don't think he went to high school. He'd been doing business. Nigeria has over 200 million people, right? Those 200 million people eat and drink and move around. That's commercial activity for you, right? You can tap into the commerce. Forget about the fact that that yes, your politicians are corrupt and embezzling money. Look. Think about it. The West that you're going to, they hold their politicians accountable. So learn to hold politicians, your leaders in Nigeria accountable. But again, there are tremendous opportunities in Nigeria. I know, because when I was coming to America, I started a business when I was a teenager in Nigeria. My mother's still alive. My mother would tell you. My friends are alive, right? I started a business before I came to America. I was a teenager. I never thought about it that I was coming to emigrate to America. And America, again, yes, there's an outlier of people that are going to be tremendously successful. You're talking. I saw the video of the young female lamenting that, well, she expected that with her master's degree from the UK, £20,000 in tuition, she would get jobs at a bank, office jobs, not in nursing, not in blue collar jobs and things like that. Yes, I worked in banks. I worked in the most prestigious places in America. I've had opportunities that I didn't expect. Right, I got an Ivy League education. I worked for the U.S. federal government in the most prestigious program, right? That I didn't imagine. I'm still the first Nigerian in America, the first African male, right, to get my position. If you look at the program I got into, the fellowship that got me into the U.S. Department of Defense, there's only one black female that they took in this cohort. The rest of them are white, and then one Asian female, no black person. Last year, there were no minorities. They were all white. In my time, I was not only the only African person and the only, black male, right? I was also the number one pick in my cohort. So I've had tremendous opportunities, but look, they're outliers. And America, for some reason, they know who they want and why they want those people, right? I hold a top secret clearance. I didn't even know what it was, right? So CSSC, I didn't know what it was. They know who they want, why they want those people, right? It's not for anyone. I'm not trying to be arrogant or anything, but it's a fact. These were not my ambitions. These and the other thing is, when you're coming to the West, right? They want you to fit into something. It's not what you want. They're not trying to help you fulfill your dreams. That's where you make a huge mistake as a foreigner and international person coming. The young lady was talking about her dream jobs. No, that's what you want. That's not what the nation wants. It's not your nation, right? It's not your country yet. They're not they're not there to help you fulfill your dream job, right? So don't bank your future on what's called serendipity. I got serendipity, right? Lucky chance finds. That's what serendipity is. In your home, if you invested that £20,000 in your home in Nigeria, you'd start a fantastic business. You could start a mega business, an empire, right? So focus your energies, right, on staying in Nigeria and building your economy, building your politics. I'm going to keep doing some of these videos just to help young people have direction. My name is Olorotimi Osha. I'll keep you posted. Thank you.